with the planning commission about 2 meetings together information. So I would like to vote in the motion for a 6-month moratorium.
He just made a motion to have a 6-month moratorium on data centers.
Why not a year?
6 months to a year.
Why not a year?
The recommendation from the planning commission is 90 days. My motion was for 6 months. We can always extend that if needed.
Can't be charged if we, no, one more is that,
If the four of you that are sitting on the outside edges of the
Second that
table,
motion? Any discussion? All in favor, aye? All opposed, nay? It's a resolution, we gotta have a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Mark?
yes.
Clark is a yes. Bob?
They're making it 6
AJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Motion carried. Discussion items? Any correspondence from Mr. Hoskins? No. Mr. Stout?
Just a reminder that tax season for winter is coming to a close on the 17th at 5 p.m. is the last for the winter taxes, and then after that, there will be additional fees charged, so make sure you get everything in if possible before that or by that. Otherwise, the final tax date is March 2nd at 5 p.m. You'll be going to the county after that.
Thank you. Clerk? I don't have anything. All right, any additional public comments? 2 minutes per person, everybody gets to speak once before anybody gets to speak twice. Do we have anything?
You guys need a name and address and all that? Okay. Andrew Thompson, 380 Pioneer Trail, Cedar Springs. There's been a whole lot of talk about the whole data center thing. I would just like to ask either the township or the planning committee, whoever has the right contacts, to ask the developer to maybe put some information out to the community. Because right now what's happening is people are making a lot of decisions, a lot of assumptions based on what could be. And we don't have a site plan, we don't know what they actually want to do. We don't know if they want to sink their own wells or do Cedar Springs, but long story short, there's 6-month moratorium now, thank you. I'd like to make sure we use that 6 months to get information so that we can address the concerns, hopefully,
Good evening. My name is Aaron Rager, and I grew up on a 40-acre farm directly south of the proposed 800-acre data site. Thank you for coming to hear us tonight. Our farm is a 5-generation centennial farm. I'm a U.S. Marine veteran, an elder in my church, and a local author. And I draw from formative experiences that took place on this farm. Experiences that simply would not have happened if we'd been living next to a massive data center. My brother's father and I built a bridge over a creek, and that was an exercise in craftsmanship, camaraderie, and teamwork. My grandfather caught some fish out of a pond fed by an artesian well. We spent summer nights camping in our backyard, looking into a clear, dark sky, listening to cicadas and the wind in the trees. On that land, we raised pumpkins, corn, tomatoes, and other vegetables on a scale that helped us provide for our own family. That is what arable agriculturally zoned land is. You cannot grow food on concrete. Once it's gone forever. These are not just sentimental memories. They are the raw materials of character and family and the faith I now teach. And they're the exact kind of things that will be stolen from our next generation if we allow an 800-acre data center to consume our water, our dark skies, and our quiet on our farm. We're not alone in this. Our state representatives, Pat Woman, has committed to co-sponsor legislation, roll back data center tax breaks and strengthen local control. Our Congressman, Hillary Scholten, has been moved by what's happening here, engaged on risk. The water of our rural homes. Family, farmers in our state, and now federal officials are lining up on the same side that this is not the right place to put an agricultural, industrial scale data center. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ben Troniak. I was here at the last Planning Commission meeting, and if this group is anything like the last one, you'll find that most people here are opposed to the AI data center for one reason or another, whether ecological preservation or opposition to AI itself. But I think what we're asking you to do is probably the easiest thing you'll have to do, which is nothing. The land is already zoned for agricultural. Just keep it zoned that way and nothing more can happen. That's all.
Lene Hauser, I was also here at the Planning Commission meeting. I'm going to try to be as quickly as possible. At January's board meeting, the master plan was referenced a few times. Can you tell me if there have been any updates to that plan, specifically the future land use section, including the map? The one on the website is dated 2018, and the recommendation is for that to be reviewed every 5 years. I just want to ensure I'm reviewing the most up-to-date document. The word facts has been used on several occasions. According to some of the information coming out of the Freedom of Information Act request, one may assume there is more information known about this project than has been shared. I do not wish to assume, nor attack. I would like to provide factual information and findings. To do that, we need to understand what has been discussed regarding this project. One area I am currently looking for further detail is with regards to the June 30th, 2025 email where Brent discusses the Cedar Field sewer system having multiple issues and would likely not be supported by EGLE to expand their capacity if needed, let alone to accommodate the requirements for the company's wastewater demand. On July 9th, Brent mentioned a willingness to explore a potential infrastructure solution with the company and the city of Cedar Springs. Can you provide more information regarding this proposed solution? And do you have metrics for this capacity on wastewater demand? A fact pulled from the 2018 master plan on page 90 and reference to capability of the land regarding implementation of that plan. It states that environmental constraints must be considered. It also asks, is the land itself, able to accommodate planned uses? Further, on page 74, it states that an overwhelming 81% of the residents of this community support increased controls and development to protect water quality in rivers and streams. Many concerned citizens here have mentioned the PFAS already in our area. These centers could potentially increase the spread at a more rapid rate, and having some of this information answered, as well as the questions I posed at the Planning and Commission meeting, will help to provide factual evidence. Help us help you. I'll end with a quote from Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Thank you to the members and to the community.
My name is Jim Sickle, and my address is 3594 Hollyfield, Cedar Springs. We talked about possible noise violations, noise, water pollution. I've been a mechanic my entire life. And from the newer style data centers, it is a closed loop system which has a glycol additive to the water, just like your car radiator. every so many years, you need to flush that. You could have 2 large tanks on site to contain that until there are companies in Grand Rapids and south of Grand Rapids that can haul that and recycle it. They can also, if you talk about noise and pollution, I live on the back line of the Cedarfield Mobile Home Park. We get buzzed multiple times a year by spray planes. The back of our house, our windows on our 3-season porch get spotted with the spray. So noise violation, pollution, and other items, I'm a personal fact for that. We are affected by it, but still, I believe that the data center is a good thing for Sullivan Township. Thank you.
My name is Bob Jennings. I'm from Cannon Township. I live at 5894 7 Mile Road at the end of 7 Mile Road. And the reason I want to be here tonight is to explain to you how this data center in your township is going to affect the rest of Michiganders. And let me explain why. I like to work first with facts and data. Please listen carefully, because I've chosen the words that I'm going to say tonight carefully, and will communicate the facts and the data, not emotions and feelings. First and foremost, the 2 largest utility companies in Michigan, DTE and Consumers Energy, have been poor stewards for the Michiganders. For decades, they have been the most expensive utilities in the Midwest and currently dead last in power restoration times in the country. 51 of the 51 entities, that includes Washington, D.C. And these are facts generated by the Energy Information Agency in Washington, D.C. The reliability of DTE and Consumers Energy is 43rd out of 50 states, or 50 out of the United States. These companies put profits far above the service reliability and sustainability. They have resisted renewable energy, transformation, grid maintenance, and currently perform behind their peers in many of the metrics measured by the EIA. They spend millions to bribe our lawmakers in getting their way and preserving their fossil fuel money machine, allowing these companies to grow and profit from data center proliferation while failing to produce and provide residents with improved reliability and renewable energy is an insult to Michiganders. Power plant and electrical grid expansion. Is that my time is up?
Keep going.
Would you like me to stop?
No, keep going. Keep going.
No, you can't, it's a 2-minute. It's 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I
go.
will gladly stop if someone would like information that I'm presenting here tonight. I have the information.
Take my 2 minutes.
I'm sorry. You want me to go or stop?
No, you can't.
Pardon me?
Come on.
Hey.
Nate Rayburn, 1645 Tyrone Ave, Kent City, also 2695 Indian Lakes, Cedar Springs. At this, I was here for the last meeting, I gave some of this concern then, looked into a little bit more. These AI data centers have a 15 to 20 year life cycle. That's a huge structure. We're calling it a hyperstructure. Is anybody here from the military law, Cedar Springs, Kent County law enforcement? I am having a hard time imagining that being an abandoned building. And what kind of things would go on in there if that is left in place. I'd like to implore the developing committee, whoever's planning this, to insist that this data center, as it's being put in, to have bonding in place for that to be taken out.
My name's Pat Anderson. I live at 2875 Wearsma. And my brother-in-law handles fire protection in Colorado for the data centers. And no matter what they say, no matter what they do, they're all lying to you. Now, we dealt with Pete Moss in Rockford, which almost killed my wife. I don't want to deal with it again. And I'm not going to deal with it again. You guys handle this any way you see fit. But I still believe that before this is all over with, everybody on this board right here is going to need a lawyer. Have a nice day.
Rockford, Michigan. I just want to thank you for taking the 6 months. We appreciate your time. And I attended a staff meeting and I requested that and encouraged you guys to look at the ordinance for lighting and sound and water usage and kilowatts and all of that. And you know, you guys can really protect us and protect everything here. You just take the time to hone in and tighten those ordinances so large entities can't even come in here. So you have time to do that, consider those things, and I encourage you to still do so. I also attended that staff meeting, and there was a motion made and a vote made there. I just was wondering if there was if there's any policy or resolution that defines the decisions that are made at staff meetings, and if there's ever a decision that would be and what defines what decisions can be made at those meetings versus an evening board meeting. He said anything that happens at a staff meeting at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday where you can't attend because you're at work, anything can happen at those meetings. That also happens at a board meeting on evenings. So there was something voted on Tuesday when I was there. It has to do with residents, people being at your residence, from 1,000 people to 50 people, and they voted on it, and there were not that many people there. So I encourage you to go to the staff meetings. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me.
Thank you, appreciate your time. Second, the gargantuan amounts of electricity required by data centers will be significant. It will be a significant contribution to climate change because of most of the electricity will not be renewable. The significant electrical demands on the grid have proven to increase utility rates for the nearby residents across the country. It's a simple supply and demand in economics. The greater the demand for limited resources, the greater the price. Most of the electricity is produced by natural gas. The demand for natural gas is rising worldwide because of that. The price is also going up. Regardless of the recent tariff case approved by the Michigan Public Service Commission for Consumers Energy in their data case centers, where they're supplying data center electricity, ratepayers will still feel the impact through higher rates. PJM has experienced record wholesale electric capacity auctions last summer and is going to raise rates for all ratepayers within the PJM area, and that includes the Atlantic Seaboard and Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and so forth. PJM also has spent over $11 billion since 2023 to upgrade the interconnect grid in support of data centers, and ratepayers will be on the hook for paying those bills as well. The primary reason that the current proliferation of data centers is twofold. One, in anticipation of an AI gold rush, which could be a bust, and if it is, we will be paying for it. No, currently OpenAI, has yet to receive or make a profit. Two, although AI can be significant benefit to our society in cancer research, engineering, business efficiencies, and so forth, there are not any current guardrails in place for AI. Without rules and laws, AI can be a superhighway for crime, AI slop, job losses, deep fakes, and further degrade our social fabric. The tech companies have resisted rules and laws for any AI regulation. Currently, they have control of our government and prevent the establishment of guardrails for AI. Data centers are classified as critical facilities along with hospitals and nursing homes. Residents will be further down the list when power outages occur. You and I will be waiting in the cold for our power to be restored while someone's creating a deep fake AI generated video that their rival is in a sexually compromising situation. And this is what I heard from someone in Saline, and it really did happen. And he doesn't want a data center next to his house promoting the AI deepfake videos that can happen. Please explain why I should support higher utility rates, longer power outages, increasing causes of climate change, and further degradation of our social fabric, and gambling on a gold rush. Thank you very much.
Hi, Robert, for support. I'm Mary Detloff. I live in, not too far from the township. To kind of touch on a few things, he ended it on a good note. So I want to share with you a quote, and this is from Mark Zuckerberg, and this was September of 2025. If we end up misspending a couple $100 billion, I think that's going to be very unfortunate, obviously, he said. But what I'd say, I think it's actually, the risk is higher on the other side. So, you know, I guess my point is, like they said, these data centers are, they're not, the lifetime, the term of these data centers is short, 10, 15 years. But what's gonna protect us if within 3 years, they decide they can do the same AI thing in a footprint that's a third the size? Then, you know, like we have this empty building monstrosity. So I think we really need to look at protections for our community. And the other thing that kind of just scares me is about like the tax revenue. For us to like put all these, you know, all this in one basket, you know, one developer, one commercial property to count so heavily on that for tax base, I think is scary for our community. You know, and people that want to move north of Grand Rapids and experience this beautiful rural area that we live in, I mean, they're not going to want to buy homes in an area that is under construction, and it will be literally be years that will be under construction for this project. And the last thing about water, I mean, you mentioned the utilities and, you know, industrial is going to get set precedents, they're going to get their stuff first. I mean, that's going to pertain to water too. If we end up in some kind of drought situation in Michigan, in our area specifically, you know, water, they're going to get the water first too. So, you know, I mean, it's just, there's so many things that it's just not good for our community, guys, and I really hope that we can think about that and do better. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Township Board. My name is Rodney Alec. I live at 34 Rager. I would like to take this time to say thank you for all you did today, thank you for all you do tomorrow, and thank you for all you've done yesterday. I'd like to say I appreciate how you've handled this gotcha moment mentality that I see displayed in the community so far. As far as the community, I'm disappointed. They assume the worst and won't stop until they find it, even if it's not there to find. Concerned about water and soil pollution, I'm here, okay? Some Township Board took effective measures to have contaminants removed off of the site out of 17-mile road that could have potentially affected water. They proactively took that. Concerns about noise pollution, I understand. So Solon Township has passed a noise ordinance in the last year, and we've reworked a master plan in order to effectively keep industry and vehicle transportation on the 17-mile road for the most part. just did successfully as of this far shut down at what amounts to a racetrack in my backyard. So thank you again. Concerned about light pollution, the township board took this up in the last little while and addressed light pollution. So there you go. I don't know how many people knew that. I find it ridiculous assuming that the same board that did these things, that has family ties to this community, a lifetime of wisdom and roots within this community, are by any means interested in approving any project, be it this data center that hasn't came before them, or any other project that would negatively impact said community. If this community has little confidence in the township board, that this community itself voted in the last voting cycle, I have very little faith in the community's ability to make a serious decision. Did they not know who they were voting for, or did they know and they were correct? You all are good people. You all do have community ties and our best interest in mind. And all the past actions would indicate that. I've heard, well, if they just said they were neutral, that would be good. I submit to you it would not be good. Has someone heard any of these people say definitely yes or no? If I had to vote today, that's how I vote. I submit to you have not. I personally have been in several of these meetings and in private with some of these people, and no one has presented to me as a yes or no. That means the township board is neutral, in case you're keeping score. And I believe that the same individuals that are coming before you demanding that you stay neutral are the very same individuals that will positively demand that you say anything. Thank you most township board for your time and service.
My name is Sarah Biggins. I live at 1617 Mile Road, T3. A huge concern for a hybrid data center is the negative impact to humans and wildlife from the significant non-stop noise produced. Data centers up to 3 stories tall generate tremendous amounts of noise from server fans, large HVAC units, chillers, and mostly backup diesel generators. The persistent humming, often described as a droning sound, is a low frequency. What that means is it travels further and resists absorption more than high frequency sounds. To date, there is no cheap way to stop this kind of sound. Headphones don't work, more insulation doesn't do anything, thicker windows don't make a difference. Hybrid data center noise can affect residents and wildlife significantly up to 2.5 to 3 miles from the site. To give you an idea, this building we are standing in is 3 miles from the site. Anxiety, sleep disruption, and cardiovascular health risks have all been identified as outcomes to ongoing stress from industrial noise. This industrial noise has the potential to change wildlife habitats daily, affecting hunting and fishing, which is an important cultural and economic activity in Michigan. When data centers come in and they're built, there's no doing it over. We can't go back in time. And you can't knock on your 800-acre data center neighbor and say, could you turn it down a little bit? Thanks for listening.
Anyone else? Oh, we got all kinds of takers.
You to be neutral in your decision. I think the community is asking you to consider the health repercussions, the financial repercussions, the quality of life that it will have the effect on your community. The reality is, once you allow this data center to come in, no attorney in our community, no attorney in Kent County county is going to be able to stand up to the repercussions that we're gonna face as a result. So please take this seriously and consider what your community is asking of you. The money, the tax revenue, okay, a lot of that is gonna be damage control. It's not going to be something great for this community. It's going to be how do we fix what this data center has put into our community. So I ask that you keep those things in mind. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Cindy Patton. I spoke at the Planning Commission meeting, and I just want to thank you, Supervisor Ehrlich, for having us again, and thank you all for making the decision to put the 6-month moratorium in, because that does actually mean a lot, and it is perhaps a little bit heavy when folks start to point fingers and those kind of things unfairly to you, because you are bearing a heavy load as well. I think what we're trying to express is the equally heavy load that we're also feeling from a perspective of transparency, and that was what I spoke on last time when I was here, so I'm grateful that you guys have that kind of thing in place. But the other thing is the transparency of, and Sarah mentioned it too, so thank you, Sarah, about some of the health factors. When PFAS and the whole Wolverine thing went down, nobody had any idea that they were burying those barrels off-site on House Road. No one knew what was going on except the folks that were dumping them there. We don't know what will go on here, and I understand closed loop systems, and I'm grateful for the gentleman that has that expertise. I've been learning a little bit more because I'm not a data center expert, and neither are any of us here. I understand that there's a big push right now for these data centers to get in quickly, that there's actually something called a binding contract in place, that if they get them done quickly, the people who are building them, the developers and the utility companies, actually get kickbacks from that. And I'm wondering if that's some of the pressure you might be feeling. I don't know. I'd love to have an answer from that. I know that from a developer's perspective, the Sparta Township one, they had a lot of things going, and when they were proposing to them the really large sum of money to the farmers that they were offering them, that would put a great weight on all of us to say, well, maybe I could change my position and how I actually feel in light of what we as the residents might want. Because when those dollar signs start to wave in front of our faces, I think it can change everybody's attitude. But I think what we're trying to express is if we wanted to live in Walker, or we wanted to live in Kentwood, we would live in Walker, and we would live in Kentwood. We've all chosen to live where we can actually connect with nature and have the ability to access it. As Sarah had mentioned about the health exposure, I listened to an industrial hygienist, which actually does monitoring. She did monitoring for the government as well. And she said those folks that are living in, she didn't say that because she doesn't know them, but when the proximity to these matters, the capacity for your heart to take what's happening from them, for the constant noise coming on from them, there is a load to that. And that actually, she tested it on expectant mothers and knows what the damage it would do. She didn't mention anything that it would do to our senior citizens living there. I think that from our perspective, it's just a matter of caring for what we already have here and not letting us be pushed by some of those equally strong incentives that could be in front of us. So again, I do understand you guys are in a really rough spot, but we do appreciate the integrity that you're showing and helping to work together as a community to get this thing stalled and maybe set an example for the rest of America that we don't really need to have this thing in place like that. So thank you very much.
My name and stuff. Denise Barrow, 1419 mile. My question is, everybody here, except a couple people, do not want this. They're environmental nightmares. And what is the incentive to do it? Why would you even consider trashing that big of a piece of agricultural property? I don't understand it. Maybe you could explain to me why it's that important to take that many acres away from the kids coming up, future generations, pollute wells. Why you would even consider that in a rural agricultural area? It's beyond my comprehension. And maybe in the next meeting, you can let us know why you would even consider it. Is it the money? I mean, there's a lot more important things than money in this world. We're finding that out. So maybe you can let us know why on earth you would vote to trash that big of a piece of property in this beautiful area and leave that much garbage to Because that's what it is. It'll be garbage. You can't, I've heard nothing or read nothing good about these. They just trash the environment. And people who live anywhere near them are having one heck of a time because their water pressure's gone. They can't sleep, the lights, the wildlife's gone. So I guess I would like to know why you would zone it like that. How much money you stand to get from this, if that's why you're doing it. Because most of the people here do not want this. So maybe you put it to a vote.
Yes.
Let's have a vote on it.
Yeah.
Let the citizens here vote on it. I think that'd be the right way to go.
I agree.
Because they're the ones that are gonna pay the higher utility bills and put up with all the crap that comes with these. Just a thought.
Anyone else? Anybody that would like to speak, please come forward so I don't have to keep asking and we know what's coming. Be helpful.
You guys all know who I am. I'm John. I think we're here tonight, board. We've read the quiz. We've seen what's going on. We all know that you guys are well informed of what is going on in the building. Or at the board. We don't want to come at you. We want to support you. We really do. But we have 10,000 questions going through our head, and we don't have answers. Now, the word neutral, I understand there's legal things involved. It's a pain in the butt. However, this is the third meeting we have come to you guys. And now that we do know that you have information, you have not spoke to us, the people. You remain silent. That silence is what creates confusion, people getting mad, and rumors. So please, can we schedule a board meeting? And can you fill us in on what is to come, what isn't to come? I know you said, Bob, that there's no plan. And we understand that. We found that in the quiz. Well, we are asking, this is going to tie into the municipal of Cedar Springs. People don't know that yet. That's all that water is going to be zoned all the way down to Algoma. It's not in place. Do you guys know there's a potential gas line? If Trump does push this through, it would tie into a gas line. They have the ability to build a power plant here and push this. These are topics that we are finding through discovery. And we would like to support you to stop this because it's going to be a huge industrial site if it comes in. They're not going to build on 250 acres. AI says 315. And by the way, they're purchasing 1,000 acres if it goes through. These are details. You've heard different numbers tonight from multiple people in here. And no one knows what's going on. Bob, you do. You've been through lunches. Please, if you can, bring that information to the public. Thank you.
Do we have more?
Step up to the mic, please.
Oh, sorry. What about the sadness with the most respect? A lot of people I've spoken to who are for the data center, they don't know a whole lot about what a data center is. This is coming from somebody who's worked in data management, cybersecurity. I wrote incident response plans for things that could be comparable to what happens if something fails, like a closed loop system. For the record, I left that because I don't care about the money and I pursue teaching. But these corporations who build these things, they do things and they ask for forgiveness. They don't really need your forgiveness though because they have unlimited money. So if they're going to do something that hurts the environment, hurts
public health, and so forth. They can afford that. They don't care what happens to us. Okay? And data centers are not built to serve communities. They're built to serve ginormous corporations who just want to make more money. It is something that helps them make money, helps them save money. If they didn't exist, technological advances, they'll still happen, but they're going to pay for them. And they can afford that. They can do on-site data management. That's what they've been doing up until data centers started to pop up. They have other solutions, they just don't want to pay for them. And they want the communities to pay for all these consequences. And I'm newer to town, but I just remember when I first moved here and I walked into Meyer, and I couldn't believe how nice everybody is. And how everybody just had this sense of community. I said, oh my God, like we finally found home. But if this data center comes in, I don't want to stick around. I don't want to say goodbye to my neighbors. I don't want to tell my daughter that we're leaving because the land wasn't protected when it should have been. And a lot of that is because of the pollutants. I have a brother who died, and it is highly suspected he was born because of the forever chemicals in the Rockford water. He was born with so many birth defects. He underwent so many surgeries, was not supposed to survive more than a month. And thank God he was here for 7.5 years, but if I were sitting in a position that could stop something that could prevent even one more child or one more family going through something that could be 100% preventable by saying no to something that can cause these kinds of traumas, it's a no-brainer. It's a no. It's a no. We have tax money. If that were to become a development, there would be housing development, reliable tax revenue. There wouldn't be all these breaks. I guess I'm just saying, like, keep the town the way it is. Find another solution. Don't give in to corporate greed. And make the decision for the children and the families, not for the love.
Robert Sitterlitz, 9497 Goodall, Rockford, Michigan. My sister and I own the property just to the north of the Moore Farm, and it's really a beautiful farm. What a quagmire we have. Progress isn't bad. Progress is a good thing. However, I'm not sure if this is the progress we need. The negative impacts that I've read, Michigan State University did a long study, to my knowledge, with regard to these data centers, and it doesn't sound really good. However, this board, you have our trust. What you do with that trust is something that you live with. So, as data centers go, I'm not familiar enough to make any judgment call, but what I've read and what I understand, they're not a great idea, and the use of this property would better serve the community in a different way. Cedar Springs, Solon Township is the next stop for businesses moving south. They're running out of room in Grand Rapids. They're going south, now they're heading north. This is an opportunity for multiple types of businesses that are lifetime jobs for people, generational jobs, a living wage for people. And we're looking at one giant building. I don't know if that's going to be the best use. I don't know if it isn't the best use. But I do know that I frankly don't want it 100 yards from what I've done. However, that's not my call. It's your call. So, that being said, this comes down to transparency. And what is going to be the outcome? We don't know. And there's a lot of people with a lot of questions. You've got to provide us with those answers. Otherwise, this firestorm just gets worse. And there's no way to overcome that. You don't need a community against you. And right now, it's heading in that direction. You can right the ship. You know, there's a lot of people at the wheel, but you guys are the ones that set the course. So, keeping that in mind, good decision, bad decision. From what I understand, it may not be the best decision. And there may be better opportunities for this area downstream. This is one that I think may not be the best for solar. However, it's your call. You got voted. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Deb Kabaki. You know I live in Township, I paid my taxes this morning. I was looking at stuff, I don't know much about data centers. I'm not going to become a specialist on it. Okay, sorry. I was taking a look at the Sutherland Township Master Plan today, and one phrase jumped out at me. It's under the Future Land Use Plan, suitable locations for such development. I don't feel the pro site for this data center is suitable. I feel it's unsuitable in more ways than one. There are 6 creeks which are significant water features in the township, with Cedar Creek being one of them. While looking at the map of the pro site, I see that Cedar Creek runs through that property. Data centers have significant impacts on creeks, streams, and local watersheds. I live on Dew Creek, and I've gotten some not so nice not feedback. I've been to the township a couple times. And it was said to me a couple times that where we live, our property, well, if I'd been in office back then, your house wouldn't be here. I'm assuming because of Dew Creek watershed. We had to bring in fill to put the house in. So what's different? You know, Cedar Creek also has trout, salmon. You know, take a look at that, because that'll flow down into the Rogue River. And then on to the Grand River. I'm just asking, take a look at that aspect of it too. The from groundwater contamination, everything from the dam center, this could do a lot of harm, and not just here.
Hello, Brian Berlin again, 3331 Sloan Road. And first off, I want to kind of apologize to you guys because, you know, well, I'm sure my friend does too, but, you know, like, we've been coming at this like, you know, we don't want it without understanding where you stand. I understand you gotta be neutral, and that makes sense. Okay, but like John said, you know, we would love to have some information, and we found out through the FOIAs that you have information. You know, the fact that you looked into the watershed, you know, way back in May or June. I mean, you know, this says a lot, you know. But we don't have any information. But we got to beg and pry and do FOIAs. I would suggest the next meeting, you guys put together a paper describing the information you have, you know, up front, we just pick up when we come into the meeting, or, you know, give us a 15-minute, you know, description of what you have. You know, so we know, you know, where it's all at. Because that's what scares us the most, and that's what keeps us charging hard, okay? So, and if we had the information, I'm sure we could tone ourselves down a little bit too. But as long as the information is held back, we've got to charge hard because we don't want it.
McGregor.
13850 White Creek Avenue, Northeast. Thank you for being here. I spoke last time, but that was the other board. This is for you guys. I think what makes our small towns better places to live is the trust we have in each other, and that we can drive down the road and stop if somebody's got a flat tire or something, and not just drive by and say, whatever, who cares? But this is like, it all fails when we lose trust in each other. And we trusted you, that's why we voted for you to do the right thing. The right thing might be hard, and it's not popular, but I think if this goes down, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's just going to start to get worse. Like, what about the other communities all over the country that are fighting this same garbage? But I would just ask, and the gentleman at the end, you prayed, right? So I'm going to pray for you guys to do the right thing. Because when we run with the crowd, that's usually when it goes bad. And we got to stand up. And you, Spirit, on the right, especially, because you're claiming you're a Christian. Hey, I'm not going to judge you, man, but you know who will if you don't.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I want to assure all of you, there's no money in this potential deal for this board or the planning commission. Hasn't been. I got a couple of cold sandwiches out of the deal, if that means anything to you. Just come and see me and I'll buy you a couple too. They weren't that good, but they were all right. I've been accused of taking 70,000 under the table, 200,000 under the table. Everybody here that thinks if I took 200,000 under the table, raise your hand if you think I'd be here tonight. I'd be somewhere warm and sunny, because I am a big fan of, as I got older, of 25, 23, 27 below, and we've been lucky for a few winters. We've had some easy winters, but this one's really wearing on my short there. And a little humor there, this Facebook crap is going around. It's the scourge of the earth as far as I'm concerned. I hate it, and I got no use for it. If you have questions for me, if you have questions township related, stop down to the office Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, give a call. I'll make sure I'm there. I'm not out doing something else in the township. We'll sit down and have a great conversation. I'll answer all the questions you got that I have answered. I have very few answers.
Why would you do it publicly?
Listen up. I'm talking.
Why
I'm
not?
talking.
Right,
I'm talking.
You are talking, and so am I. And you work for me.
We can adjourn the meeting just as easy as not.
You're not gonna tell us shit anyway.
Okay, so they haven't made application to the planning commission. That is the first step in this process. Make an application to the planning commission for the consideration of the rest of the property. There's a couple pieces of it that are already zoned industrial. They have to make that application. They haven't even begun to make the application. They have to submit money with their application to the township. Submit money to cover our attorney fees, escrow accounts, and so on and so forth. There's a lot to it. Our planning commission, I think, is a well thought out planning commission. They understand, I'll just say, the art of the deal. Somebody's not gonna come in here and rub them to the ground, and they're gonna bow and plead that please come. Nobody cares. I could care less if I have a data center. Don't care one iota. One way or another right now. Never have. had me for one. Never even heard the word till last summer sometime. To clarify a couple areas, we were under an NDA agreement, and in November, we met with the right place 3 or 4 times, or I met with them 3 or 4 times. And I told them in November, we have no more meetings, so you can make this data center, this NDA agreement go away or not. I don't care. Well, we want to have another meeting. I said, make the NDA go away. You know. So, lo and behold, they come up with a form. I signed it. NDA is gone. And, you know, that's the moral of the story. I don't know what more to tell you, but if you think there's any money, anybody on this board or the planning commission in this township lining their pockets in this deal, you're living in a seriously delusionary world. Don't know what else to say. I think I've answered most of the questions. Like I said, if you've got more questions, come and see me. I'm there generally every day. Once in a while I step out for a little lunch, but not usually. Anyway, to that end, I will, entertain a motion to, yes, ma'am?
I know that before the attorney was here, so I know that you guys can't always be able to answer those questions. And I know that you guys are very busy days, so I don't want to continuously be bombarding.
I work for you. You come into my office with questions. If I don't have answers, I'll find the answers.
Okay. And so anything that we've asked, there's no specific time frame in which those are going to be answered unless you come to the township and ask that.
That'd be your best bet, yeah.
Okay, so does everybody understand that? That we need to re-ask the question. We need to reach out to you or the township.
Yes, ma'am.
Email, anything, so all the questions that we have asked, we don't have a time frame of when we're gonna receive answers.
Personal visits is what I would prefer, because then we get things solved. It's just like board meetings and planning commission meetings. You don't get anything solved with emails and